Issues with finances are often the reason that relationships falter and fail, and it's not as easy as just minding their own money. Even if both parties maintain their own income and spending, you're still linked as a couple, and there will be choices that you'll have to be done together. So today, our relationship expert, Kat Robey, is bringing the truth about money and relationships, and this is very timely because I think probably over the holidays, that reared its ugly head maybe during the spending portion of the
And then the bills start coming in January.
Yeah, where you start hiding the credit card bills as they come in the mail.
Oh, yeah.
But that actually kind of comes with the first thing we should do when we're talking about money, which is talk.
Right. Well, and the word truth, you know that phrase, the truth will set you free, isn't anymore true here.
Yeah.
It's just what's real.
Yep.
And the less you try and face it, the more problems it's going to cause if you don't face it head on as a couple and talk about it. So early on, if you're talking as a couple and you have debts or you have some big mistake that happened, however, that needs to be on the table because that will affect both of you at some point, regardless. You know, and I do have a lot of people that come in and say, well, I pay for this and he pays for that and she pays for this. Like, that's great. All of that is a really great plan. But at the same time, I've seen so many places where let's say one person has more money and has the option to do more things with their friends. And then they don't do those same things with their partner. And their partner wonders, do you not want to spend time with me? Or, well, you don't really have money for it. Either way, you're going to build up a kind of, a little bit of a hierarchy or maybe a power and control without even realizing it, without even knowing.
And I think when we're talking money and relationships, and I think sometimes we get in you're compatible love-wise, but maybe one's a saver and one's a spender, and then that starts causing that little bit of a riff, and then we get into that hiding situation, like, well, I'll just buy a couple of dresses and, you know, tuck that away somewhere and they will never know. Or it's better if, like you said, we're just honest, we bring it to the table and we have a conversation, and then we come that way without that judgment.
Yeah, definitely. So being able to talk about it is one thing. Most people think talking about it is going to end up in a fight.
Yeah.
So the first thing for all of us to do, and we've hopefully all been in the situation, because it's not easy. It's not a simple thing to have these discussions. But to be able to recognize that, let me say it this way, to own your own beliefs. So that when someone looks at you and say, that's stupid, why do you need that? Why do you have to spend money on that? You shouldn't need that. Well, if you believe in it and it's important to you, your first goal is to own that and then bring that to the table and say, I need 3 new dresses.
Yeah.
And so help me figure out how we can get 3 new dresses. Or maybe the conversation goes to, well, maybe you can have one now and one later, or maybe it can't happen at all. The whole point of this is that couples generally get into a very black and white place. Like, I want this way and you want this way, and there's no in between. And that couldn't be further from the truth. The only way, though, that you're going to find out those other things that might be possible is if you're willing to really listen to each other and stop trying to prove your point. Like, that's really the core of any conversation that a couple would have, right? Is go into it trying to understand the perspective of the other person. Then both of you start problem solving in a different way or from a different place, you know? Like, it doesn't mean anything about you that your partner doesn't agree with the way that you spend money. That's their way of spending money or saving money. It's different, not good or bad. And I think if people can just remind themselves in the moment that it's not good or bad, there's no labels, please don't assign labels while you're having the conversation as well. To say, yeah, this is where I'm at, this is where you're at, how can we get closer together and still get more of what we want?
And I think how you deal with money and how you spend money ends up being translated very different from your partner's perspective, because then that translates to how you feel about them. Like you were talking about spending more time with your friends, and how come you don't spend that money on me? Or, you know, how come the honey's not buying me flowers with that extra cash that you have, you know, running around? It gets translated into a bigger problem, I think.
Absolutely.
So you have to look at the big picture. And
well, and let me say one more thing about that. The other piece is, if you do start hiding money, what that says, whether your partner ever finds out about it, is that you don't trust your spouse, or you don't trust your partner, or you don't trust that you're going to be okay sharing that knowledge or that information, like that you won't be judged. It's a very big trust issue. So if that holds different, if that helps us hold it differently, then let's frame it like that, because you're not being 100% real when you're doing things like that to yourself or to your partner.
I bet you have a lot of people that are going into a marriage that come in to talk to you about this exact issue. Yes. Is this kind of maybe one of those is this a red flag, Kat? Like, let's sit down. You know, do we want to go into a long-term situation when we can't get on the same page with this? Because it is. I feel like finances is one of the biggest things that a relationship deals with.
Well, and statistically, they always say finances are one of the biggest breakdowns of partnerships and marriages, right? So not being able to talk about that. Well, you and I, from all of our discussions, know that it really isn't even about the money.
Yes.
It's about all the underlying stories that go along with the money. But yeah, as they come in, and maybe that is their red flag, that gets them in to be able to, within our talks together, to see the perspectives a little bit differently and see what's holding them back, or what they learned growing up about money, or what they make money mean in certain capacities. So there's a lot that goes to it, but really when you slow it all down and try to deal with the like the uh-oh that comes up when you think about being real and being honest and being truthful about this stuff, then the rest is it's easier. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, but it's real. And being able to have that kind of conversation says volumes about you and your relationship.
I know we are talking to somebody right now. They're watching and they're going, they are talking to me. This is for me. So I'm going to let them know how they can get a hold of you, Kat, if they maybe want to sit down and have that real, truthful conversation with you. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
Yes. Now, if you are interested in professional relationship advice, make sure to call Kat at 906-3392 or visit robeycounseling.com.